So today I'm here to talk about picky eaters and what simple tricks and tips that you can use to get your picky eater on the path to less resistance. Is that how you say it? We want them eating good food. And the fact is that they once were eating good food and you don't know what happened, or you don't know what strayed, or maybe they never did eat good food and you're just afraid that they will never like it. And we set these expectations that if we put something in front of our child, they just won't eat it, or they won't like it, or they won't like the texture because it's not what they're used to. So we've got all kinds of things going on in these kiddos. You don't know if they're just so hyped up on sugar that all they're zoning in and honing in on is what they can feed all of the bugs inside of them that are craving these sugars. Or you just have kids that have sensory issues from gut situations. So they're also, they're picking up things that are really, really crunchy, or really, really this, or really, really that. So there's so many things going on. But what I always say to try first is removing all snacks.
Remove all snacks.
Remove all snacks. Why? We want the kids hungry so they actually try something new that they wouldn't try before. Because you know what often happens? Children don't need a ton of calories to sustain them. So if you give them a granola bar here and a fruit leather there and an applesauce here and some chips there, when an actual meal comes around, they're not actually hungry. So what they're gonna do is pick whatever they wanna eat. So, and usually that's not the healthy thing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove all snacks. And we're gonna take those snacks away until we can get 3 meals in and actually work with the children when they're hungry. So this is going to take some planning for one. And for two, you're gonna wanna do it on a week maybe that's not a school week or a busy week, that you're home more often, so that you can monitor these things. Because when you're out and about, or if the kid is going to someone else's house or with a grandparent or things like that, you want everybody to be on the same page with no snacking. And that's gonna give you your best case scenario when it comes to sitting the child down and actually eating. When you're actually sitting down to eat, there's a bunch of different tricks and tools you can use. There's one thing that a lot of therapists use, and it's called the bowl. So you basically have your child's kind of like everyday meal that they're used to eating, and you have a try bowl. So basically you have your children's food sitting there and they don't get it quite yet. There's 1, 2, or 3 small bite sizes of items that maybe everybody else is going to be eating that night. So the best way to start this out is with just you and that child and nobody else at the dinner table yet. So we're not ruining a meal. It's not like this big thing and everybody's waiting. You sit there with your child and you have these 3 little bite sizes of like whatever it is you have that everybody else is going to be eating for dinner, and you have a bowl. So the goal is to have them try each item, and whatever they don't want of it, it goes in the bowl. They can spit it back out in the bowl. They can do whatever they want, and you can put it in the bowl and then they get the regular food. So just a bite, bite, bite. If one of those 3 bites they like, they can have more of it, and then you can move from there. If they don't like any of them, that's fine. They tried them, not a big deal. You bring their plate back to them and you let them eat what they're used to eating. So if they get upset with this bowl thing, what we can do is we can take them somewhere different and work with them on food in a different setting where it's fun. Maybe you have a mommy date time. And at this mommy date time, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have something that's really exciting that we don't use anywhere else. We are gonna have special plates. We're gonna have special cups. We're gonna have special silverware, like Constructive eating plates are super duper cool. And they go with the Constructive eating silverware. We've got a, construction zone foods. I mean, how cool and how fun is this? And they can push and play with the food, and it doesn't matter how many bites they get in. We're just trying to get them used to new textures and new tastes and make it super duper fun. So these are things that we're gonna use not at the dinner table. This is going to be on our fun dates when we're doing things separately, not at home, and it's not considered mealtime. It's fun time. It's totally separate. You can get these cool placemats. I got this as a set on Amazon, and all of these came together. So those are really cool. And another thing is I really love these drink-in-a-boxes because, I mean, they think these drink-in-a-boxes. So maybe you take a trip to Whole Foods. Maybe that is going to be your place, or New Seasons, or any market that has a really good hot and cold bar and a separate eating area and a juice bar. So what you do is you take your juice in the box and you take it up to the juice bar and order a juice. So foods, they have something called ABC juice, which is apple, beets, and carrots. So you can have them make that juice up and put it in your drink-in-a-box. So they have their special juice, and then you go down and you sit in the eating area, and before you sit down to eat, you go to the hot bar. And you get teeny tiny amounts of a ton of different foods. You get some chicken, you can get some beef, you can get so many different things. You're paying by the pound, so it doesn't matter, and you're only getting little bite sizes of each thing. And the wonderful thing about that is there's no work that you had to put into all that food. There's no labor, there's no, emotion if they decide they don't want to eat it because you didn't slave to fix it. And that is the big thing. It's like we work so hard as mothers and as parents to cook something nutritious and good that everybody else seems to love. And that one child doesn't. So there's that emotion there that makes you angry at the child. And the great thing about taking them to that place is you can put all those things on a plate, and maybe you end up spending $6 or $7, barely anything, because you got this big plate of just teeny tiny little bites. And then you can go through the salad bar and you can get little bits of, shredded carrots, you can get shredded zucchini, you can get all kinds of different things and get them to play with them and mix them together in their little construction yard. And maybe they take a couple bites and they realize, oh, I think I like that. You can go back and get more. And you don't have to prepare it, and you don't have to throw away big quantities of something if they don't like it. So I think it's probably the smartest and the most fun thing you can possibly do. And the other thing that they have at like Whole Foods, the ones that have the juice bars, is they make smoothies. So you can design whatever smoothie you want, and you can have it made for your child. So you can have, hemp milk and almond butter and, dates and all kinds of stuff, and just make it super duper fun. And then if they're worried about the color of a smoothie or something like that, you can get these really cool thermos cups. I believe they're called foogo, something like that. I'll put in description box below, but they can't see what color the smoothie is. So if it is green or if it's a color, it doesn't matter. And they have these really great silicone straws. And I haven't found a kid that doesn't love sipping on these straws. They're really great. Straws are really, really great for kids because they actually take in a lot more than if they were gonna drink. And they don't have to deal with a lot of texture either. So if they have any kind of sensory issue, they're actually sliding the straw in their mouth, and not everything has to pass all the way across their tongue. So it's a great way for them to get more down and to handle textures they might not like if they were drinking out of a cup. So straws are just wonderful. My favorite straw cups are the Life Factory glass bottle. This, of course, is my ideal. The only thing I don't love about it is these plastic mouthpieces can, start to shed plastic after a while. I wish they would put a silicone, cover on them. I do like these foogo bottles because you can order replacement straws from the company if your kids bite them up for like $1 each. And these crazy straws are like $10 each. I love my kids drinking out of glass. I buy them all, but $10 for a $20 cup is really, really expensive for a replacement straw. But these are a staple in my home. We use them every day. It's just the kind of things I like. You want to know. So for sitting down and doing juices, I only use these for like liquids, not smoothie type of things. But these are wonderful. My kids they'll drink 5 times the amount of water that they would normally drink because they love these little containers. And you know what? Sometimes you just got to do what it takes to get the child to consume. So many people are worried about going from really horrible to the best. And that's not always what it's about. It's about taking steps and making things better. So maybe your child, all they'll eat is chicken nuggets and macaroni and cheese. So, okay, what would your ideal be? Well, maybe the ideal would be a roasted chicken and some cheese and quinoa, or some creamy, cheesy Spaghetti squash. What we can do is we can take steps to get there. So instead of like a box macaroni and cheese or something really horrible, maybe go out and get gluten-free rice noodles and make your own natural cheese sauce. And that's your mac and cheese. And then instead of doing chicken nuggets, you take chicken tenders from the store and you bread them in almond flour and bake them. And they're super delicious. And we're going from something that's bad to something that's better, quite a bit better. And then eventually, you know, let's try the spaghetti squash and do it with a little bit of cheese. And maybe that goes by well. And then maybe we can, you know, get rid of the breaded tender altogether and get a rotisserie chicken and add some lovely gravy sauce that you make from bone broth and make that into your sauce for your spaghetti squash. It's all about taking steps to get there, to get where your ultimate goal is. I remember when I was trying to get my son to eat meat, he wouldn't even eat meat. So we had to start with pepperoni. Pepperoni led to lunch meat. Lunch meat led to chicken that was sliced really, really fine. And that led to like your typical roasted chicken. And it's all about getting there, you know, and whatever that looks like to you, that is up to you. So you have to decide what the big goal is and then take the steps to get there. Maybe it's, you know, the healthiest hot dog on the market to get them to eating, you know, some other kind of meat or steak or whatever it is your goal is achieving with your child. Just take baby steps and don't have these huge expectations that they're going to go from overnight to eating totally horrible food to just the best, cleanest diet. It's just not realistic to go from this to this and it to be super easy. You know what? It's going to be hard work, but you have to get everybody on board, everybody on the family. We don't need anybody sneaking anybody food. We don't need any grandparents around going, oh, we're just going to give them, oh, it's so cute. They love these so much. We just love giving it to them. You have to get everybody on board. And if they're not willing to be on board, then they can't be around during this experiment. I'm sorry. We just can't deal with any fallbacks. To get started, a lot of people have these picky eaters and maybe they're only eating X, Y, and Z every single day. Well, the most important thing that we can do is make sure that they get what their body needs to be healthy and grow. So there are some supplements that you can run by their pediatrician that I think personally are super duper important. I'm gonna start with those. So Carlson makes some very palatable fish oils. This is the very fine fish oil, and this is the orange flavor. They make a lemon flavor as well. And you can buy the children's versions of these, but they're actually exactly the same and they're a little bit more expensive. The Carlson fish oil, and they also have the Carlson cod liver oil. I do both of these, and my kids get about a teaspoon of each, and I put that in the bottom of their cup when I make them a smoothie. So the other thing that I drop in there and put in their smoothie as well is some probiotics. And I really like these Doctor's Formulated Garden of Life ones. And Carlson also makes the D3 drops. I don't know any child that doesn't need D3. D3 is super duper duper important for their bodies, especially their growing bodies. I would do the 1,000 IUs and do 1 drop. And you can do that right on their tongue. It tastes like absolutely nothing, but consult their pediatrician depending on their age and size and all those things on how much D3 that they need for them. Because too much D3 is toxic. It is a fat, it's not water soluble. So find out exactly how much D3 they need. It's one of those things that can be toxic if you have too much, but it's absolutely pertinent to a growing child. And then the last thing I personally would do would be a multivitamin. Nordic Naturals make something called Nordic berries that are fabulous. Kids love the way they taste. They have great sourced vitamins in them. And there's another one, and I will list it below, that I love, and of like my must-haves for supplements that maybe aren't getting all of the food that they should be getting. But the other thing to do, like I talked about, would be juicing. Juicing is ultra important for kids that don't eat good foods. And juicing is so amazing because they are getting vitamin-rich water, basically, that is going straight into their blood, that can feed their brain glucose, that can do everything that the body needs without breaking it down or doing anything to it. So juicing is fantastic. And I always say, rule of thumb is 1 green apple or some carrots is gonna get it sweet enough. So, you know, maybe you do apple, carrot, beet juice, or you do cucumber, apple, green apple, and different kinds of greens and things like that. I'll be juicing exotic fruits to sweeten your kids' juice. They don't need all that sugar. It's way too much. So those kind of things. And you can always start with more green apples and wean it down as you go. So maybe you have to put 2 green apples in at first, a cucumber, you know, some greens for them to get it down, for them to deal with the flavor and actually like it. That's fine. We'll just wean it down as they go. And you can also put oils into their juice and just kind of shake it up and have them drink it, because that will slow the sugars, keep them from spiking. So maybe you add your cod liver oil, or you add some kind of oil to it. You can add udo's oil. You can add, or is it udo's? You can add, you know, just avocado oil. You can just, you know, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, so they barely even notice that it's there, and that will help keep from a sugar spike. So that is very important. The other super important thing, I probably should have mentioned this first.
Water.
Kids need water so badly. I mean, everybody needs water. Everybody needs water. But kids especially need water. They are super duper active. They're using more water than you and I are, because they're running around like little crazy people. And the most important thing you can do is get them filtered water. Get a Multipure water filter. The lead water in Oregon is out of control. There's schools that like were shut down because of the amount of lead and chemicals in their water. And it's so serious. You don't understand what that does to a growing child's body, let alone yours. So if you're running hot water through that and cooking with it, you're in trouble. If you're just drinking that, you know, poor kids. The last thing we want is anybody getting lead poisoning. So filtered water, get a Multipure filter, filter their water, make sure you have a shower filter. This is probably like one of the most important things you could possibly do, and make sure they are drinking constantly. What I like to do is I take these bottles, and I have maybe like 8 of them, no joke, and I fill them up and I put them all over the house. So if my kids are thirsty, they just grab one and drink it. You know, maybe I have 3 upstairs, 3 downstairs. I place them all over the place. I have some outside for them if they're outside playing. I make sure they're drinking water all the time. Then I'm constantly going through with a pitcher and filling up all the bottles, putting lids on them, and they're always thirsty because they're used to drinking water now. And they drink all day long, all day long, all day long, and they're like, Mom, I'm thirsty, my water's empty, I need water. And it's probably like the best feeling that I could ever have, that my kids like to drink water. Get your child to like to drink water. So no matter what you need to do, go and take them. Have them pick out their favorite cup. Show them online. Be like, what kind of cup do you want? Get them excited about it so that they can drink water, and talk about how important water is. Tell them they need the water for their brain and their lungs and all of their organs, and that's what makes them healthy and grow and have a clear head. Kids nowadays are getting headaches, and they're groggy and they're grumpy. The #1 sign of a dehydrated child is grumpiness. Huh? Yeah, us too. Grumpy. Drink water. How much water have you drinking today? Like, show them by doing it yourself, you know? Teach them by doing the things that you want them to do. So drink the water, take a sip of it, and be like, oh, this is so good. Don't even get any for them at first. Be like, oh, this water tastes so clean and refreshing and cold. I love it. So good. I mean, they're going to want it because you have it and because they don't have it. And another trick for picky eaters is to have your own plate and don't get any food for them. Know that they're hungry. Make yourself a big plate of food and be like, Mommy's gonna sit down and eat. This is Mommy's special food. It's so good. You can't have it. And you sit and, it's so good. It's so good. And make them want to get excited about eating. So we got water, we got juicing, and then the smoothies. You can get so much into a smoothie. Get them excited about their smoothie. Like I said, if they care about the color of it, then get something that they can't see the color. If they just want something fun, or if they like characters, this is great. Otherwise, you know, glass is always wonderful. I think glass is like my most preferable choice when it comes to smoothies and things like that, because you're dealing with fats. And fats break down plastic. So I try to avoid fats and plastic. But like I said, we're just taking steps to make things better. We're not going from bad to perfect. Sometimes you need things to get you by and to get you through things to the next level. So it's okay. If you have any questions about picky eaters or more advice, there are some books that I chose to help me with my journey. The GAPS book has a section called Picky Eaters, which I thought was super helpful because we went through hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of food therapy. And I found it to be not super helpful. And the most helpful things were really simple things that I learned from occupational therapists about getting your kid excited about food and eating and doing things in a separate place and keeping it separate so that the work is more fun. And that's the thing you have to do. You have to play with them, get them excited about things and not make it so much stress and pressure, because I think we feel that as parents. I think we feel like a lot of people are looking at us and judging us, and we're like, why can't I get my kid to eat that? You know, and it's like all that stress and pressure really pours into them, and we have to just make things fun and get them excited about that and show them how good it is and how excited we are about it, and they'll be excited. So ideas for videos, post them below, or anything that could help anybody else watching this video, you can post those below too. So much for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye.